Greetings, comrades. This is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 2 of the Union of Britain playthrough on Hearts of Iron 4. In between the last episode and this one, we have unfortunately had to start a new game. It is now once again the 1st of January 1936, and that is because the Kaiserreich team has released a flurry of mods basically in the last day. I think they've released like 3 updates, just fixing a bunch of things, including a couple of crash to desktops, which is good because I had actually already recorded episode 2, and that had crashed to the desktop. So hopefully whatever issue was underlying that has been fixed. Additionally, they have apparently added a focus tree to Ireland. Yes, indeed they have. And also a bunch of optimizations for the Mongolia stuff. Mongolia is a nation which I really should play as one of these days. It's basically you're trying to reform the Mongol horde, which just sounds amazing. Anyway, otherwise nothing has really changed. I've decided to do most of the pre-pause stuff, so we are establishing our industry in basically the same way that we were doing it before, so I've pre-planned a little less. We're building a battle cruiser, we're getting our infantry and other stuff going, we're doing a tiny bit of trading for chromium and oil just so we can get those battle cruisers out. We have selected the Trade Union Congress, and the only difference is technology, where instead of going for the naval tech, which I think was heavy cruisers, we've gone for synthetic oil experiments, and that is so that we can be self-reliant on oil, because apparently they have buffed how much oil and rubber you get from synthetic refineries. Indeed they have. I think it used to be +4, +2, now it's +7, +4, so they've more or less doubled it, I think. Don't quote me on that though. The other thing that I have investigated is the navies. And my gosh, the British love aircraft carriers now. Like, that is completely different doctrine from how it used to be, which is kind of interesting because it will allow you to do a lot of force projection. Although we know from the Brexit Britain game that aircraft carriers instead of land-based aircraft, don't do it. Just don't do it. They suck in comparison. But having all these aircraft carriers means that we can be really quite potent at sea, so long as we're replacing those planes. So we have currently got 3 navies, and they're actually set out in quite an acceptable manner. So we have the North Sea Fleet, which is, I think, the smallest, but mostly battleships. Then we have the Channel Fleet with both of those have 1 carrier, 6 battleships, 3 battle cruisers, loads of destroyers in the North Sea Fleet. This is more of a heavy slogging fleet, so 10 battleships, 1 carrier, 1 heavy cruiser. In fact, the North Sea Fleet, I might shift some of the battle cruisers to the North Sea, to the Channel. And then finally the Welsh Fleet, which is insane. 4 aircraft carriers, 5 battle cruisers, 10 light cruisers, and 4 destroyers. And that is clearly force projection across the Atlantic. So the Welsh Fleet is across the Atlantic, the North Sea is Norwegian Sea, Norwegian coast, North Sea, and then the English Channel is probably Bay of Biscay, English Channel, and Eastern North Sea. So actually the Channel Fleet might want more like carriers so that we can have more anti-air ships there. More fighters on the carrier there. We'll see. That's mostly to protect, to provide an air shield against enemy naval bombers. But we'll see when war breaks out and how that will go. So we're just basically going to blitz through time, as you have already seen all of this. And we want to get back to March? May? I think it was May. I legitimately don't remember. It was just after the International. Mosley's calling a meeting. We're going to go with all the same options. Kerensky is dead, as we did previously, and just get back to where we were before. The other thing that we may start doing is building some troops, but we're not going to do that until we have a little bit more of a stockpile. I might also have changed very slightly the difference in artillery versus support equipment, and that is because I want to upgrade all of our regular infantry units to infantry with artillery. Totalist Charter, yeah, that's fine. Edward the VIII is now King of Britain. And you'll have to ignore any sounds coming from behind me. Someone's currently washing the windows. Thank you. Okay, so we got rid of all the planes, just so we have the maximum manpower to play with. At this stage, Black Monday, there it is. That is Germany's economy has just crashed, which is excellent. Afghanistan's declared war on India. I think it must have been March. We really didn't get very far in, did we? Well, that first episode's always kind of talking about what's happening in the mod and why we're playing as Britain and Britain's starting position in the world, which we have now all done. So I really hope that the Soviet Union fights Russia again. That was a really cool thing that was happening. Difficulty and all that is all the same, so we are still playing on veteran. We haven't tweaked the sliders at all, although it does actually occur to me, I've been thinking a little bit more about the patch changes in 1.3.3, which is the Paradox patch, not this one. And in that, they reduced soft damage across the board, especially for artillery, which means that there will be less of a manpower impact for just regular fighting. So maybe that will have fixed the love that the AI... Well, it won't have fixed it. The AI probably still builds a lot of divisions, so I think that has also been toned down. But the fact that they have so many divisions is going to have far less of an impact on their manpower pools, which means that they should just suck far less quickly than they did previously. And I'm going to assume that is why they changed the soft damage, because they were just losing way too many manpower for their armies. Vote for military policy. This was maximalist, I believe. Or was this federationalist? No, this is maximalist. I think. I don't remember. Okay, got military stuff. Vote for internal policy. This one was local governments must be brought in line with the TUC. That was definitely that one. And I think diplomatically we were maximalist. Crap, have we changed one of them? Oh, was it economic? No. Expand, decentralized, streamlined. That's definitely maximalist. Okay, I think we have screwed one of those differently. Horner will go on half of the Union of Britain. Union of the Arts. This one, I think, is new. For a few years now, a group of artists led by the German emigrant by the name of Hannes Meyer have pushed for the idea of a unified Union of Arts. They argue that all arts need to be brought together to create an actual total work of art, a Gesamtkunstwerk. Needless to say, many of the proposers have adopted this new idea of arts into their political life, where they stand for maximist views. They have also made themselves quite popular with drafts of the unionised living space for poorer comrades. The artistic world of the Union is divided as sculptors, potters and writers deny having anything to do with these architects, and a clear path must be set. Should we establish one union for all our artists, or leave things as they are? The way forward is together. More totalists or more... Oh, yeah. Way forward is together. Foreign policy. This is... Yeah, we were federationalists because we were Canada's our mortal enemy, France is our good friend. That's what we were going for because that is like the core of our policy. Not quite as efficient as it could be, but our idea here is we are playing the Union of Britain that we have kind of envisioned rather than what is the maximum potential, although that would actually be against maximist policies, but meh. John Jack Reed and the Combined Syndicates. American journalist, poet and syndicalist activist John Jack Reed spoke to the Congress for an hour and 15 minutes of the crisis facing the United States and the chance for revolution in the Western Hemisphere. Oh yeah, we are absolutely pledging our support for the American worker, because that is one of the ones that we wanted to do. Foreign policy has been bypassed. Syndicalism in Spain, we are supporting that as well. Women's role in the worldwide revolution. Even more political power. Magnificent. The White Terror. Another reason we must end this... Yeah, we went with that one too. Bharatian Commune asks for support. The Bharatian Commune asked for support in their struggle against its neighbours, Delhi and the Princely Federation. They would like us to send a military advisor to train their leaders and troops. Now, I have a feeling this is roughly where we got to previously. So I think we are basically back in time. So we're going to send military advisors. And then the resignation of Philip Snowden. In the last days of the TUC Congress, Chairman Philip Snowden climbed up to the podium and made a speech. He claimed that in the face of massive rifts within the TUC and due to his age, he intends to resign his post. He also pulled out the cliché time with the family bit that all politicians do. The congregation stood silent as he climbed down from the podium and made his way out of the hall. The country is shocked, and in a few days' time the TUC will have to vote on a new chairman. Minus 50 political power. So all the political power we've been building up so far, gone. Well, from the events and things. Maximists secure no majority. The TUC has decided to vote for Oswald Mosley's Maximists, but not with any great majority. Oswald Mosley will become the new chairman of the TUC, but he will have to compromise with other factions. And we apparently got the majority as well. Oswald Mosley elected as chairman of the TUC. The 1936 Trade Union Congress in the Union of Britain was made out to be decisive. Long-time chairman of the TUC, Philip Snowden, declared his resignation, causing the four major factions of the Union, Maximists, Autonomists, Federationalists and Congregationalists, to butt heads over the position. And, as the dust settled, Oswald Mosley, leader of the Maximists and a totalist ideologue, had been appointed as the new chairman. Mosley's faction supports a strong central government and full state control of the economy, and are much more in favour of military action and British nationalism than any other faction. Alright then, let's see where this gets you. Low party popularity, Mark Leake declared war on Mongolia. That's probably not a good idea for you, Mark Leake. The civilian support for the ruling party is now lowered, which means we're going to get even less political power. So be it. But now that Maximists are in power, we can start overwhelming the Federationalists and try and get above the 40% needed for average party popularity. We're only 1% away, so I don't think that's going to be too difficult. The office of General Secretary. Now that the new chairman's finally been chosen, many are urging quickly to choose a new General Secretary and end this period of uncertainty in British politics. So the General Secretary is the head of government, and we need to choose who this is going to be. So the options are Nick E. Glace, which I know is here somewhere. Somewhere. Where are you? The other one was Eric Blair and Tom Mann. There's Tom Mann. Consumer goods factories increased by 5%, but that does also gain us some more political power. I actually want our factorists performing properly, so we don't want Tom Mann in charge. We could also get Eric Blair. There is Eric Blair. He is army experience and division recovery rate, so he's the most militarist, and he is a totalist as well, which is good for us. And then Nick E. Glace. Why is it I can never find you? I know you're here somewhere. There he is. National Unity plus 5% daily political power gain. So I would love to have the National Unity, but the political power gain is just too expensive right now. So we're going to go with the relatively safe choice, which is Eric Blair. So our military is going to be stronger, but we don't really gain any political power or unity. And with our 60%, that is still fairly low. But we are Britain. We are hard to invade. So I'm not too concerned about that. It's not like we're Germany or France. 1936 Congress of Trade Unions has been completed. So we can now start focusing on other things. So political commissars grants us more reinforcement, division recovery, and supply consumption reduction, and leads us towards the Grand Protector and the Revolution. We can expand industry in Wales, which gives us free civilian factories, and also a bonus to construction tech, which is very nice. Bonus to concentrated industry, which we haven't started yet. But we actually want more factories being built. This gives us army experience and a reduction in political power, so I don't think we want to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do any of the military stuff yet. So we're going to go with expanding industry in Wales just because it's like a triple whammy. 2 factories and also construction tech. And the second whammy of that triple whammy is a second factory. Just in case. It wasn't quite clear. Okay, so we can start supporting... No, we can't because they don't exist yet. So once those socialist groups appear, we can start supporting them. And hopefully... In fact, we can do that already. No, we can't, because they've removed this. Party popularity now works in a different way, so they've removed the ability to do that. The Arab Congress. The Arab revolt in the Weltkrieg was a failure, mostly due to the defeat of the Entente, and millions of Arabs living in the Levant and Iraq stayed under Ottoman rule. Despite this, though, Arab nationalism has been on the rise for many years, and it has finally culminated in the beginning of the Arab Congress in Cairo. Representatives from the numerous Arabic nations were greeted with a spectacular performance by Egyptian dancers and an artillery salute, and the negotiations began. Experts predict that Egypt and Hashemite Arabia will lead the Congress, a Congress where bitterness towards Ottomans and sometimes even discussions of a united Arab axis against the Turks can now flow freely. I wonder where I've seen this before. And we have basic machine tools, so we can start working on something else. We could go straight for concentrated industry and start maximizing the amount of guns and stuff we're producing. Or we could start on some of the naval things. Now, seeing how many aircraft we have at sea and naval bombers, carriers is the word I'm looking for. We could actually go for base strike, which is less convoy intensive than that one, but far more carrier. So carrier organization, sortie efficiency, naval targeting, even more carrier organization, light cruiser organization. I love light cruisers, they are really strong. Even more carrier organization, blimey. Carrier organization, carrier overcrowding minus 50%. Does that mean you can then have 10 carriers in a fleet? I have a feeling it does. And then battleship organization and capital ship armor. And then even more light cruiser organization and carrier and naval air agility from carriers. You know what? Yes, we are going base strike. So port strikes plus 50%, carrier organization plus 20. We could also start researching some other things like light cruisers. I mean, we already have the Ark Royal class, which is excellent. So we are fully up to date in terms of navy. And I bet our carriers are actually Ark Royals. We're going to go with the Southampton class, and then I think we'll go with base strike. So we can start putting some dockyards on that, but we will need to ramp up the number of dockyards we have, because right now it's a bit low. But we can't do that until we have a better supply of oil. And now, one other question I had was, do cruisers cost anything other than oil and steel? No. Capital ships do, including Ark carriers. So yeah, I think we're going to go with light and heavy cruisers. Mostly light. Yeah, light cruisers, carriers, and then maybe some battle cruisers as backup. I think that's going to be the fleet organization we're going with. Again, slightly different, but that's because I hadn't really investigated the navy we already have. So I think that will make the most sense. And that will mean that we need to invest a little bit of development towards aircraft, carrier aircraft, but that's fine. Oops. The leaders of the CNT FAI have fled Spain, FAI-ing arrest and imprisonment. They have come to us asking for training and support so that they can return and will be prepared to bring down their king. So that's giving them political... that's supported CNT FAI with training and support. So that's what we're doing. Obviously the event hadn't quite been written properly. A little bit of a bug there in the naming, but that's fine. Still works, hopefully. Didn't we start importing... Oh, you haven't actually been sending us any. Well, you suck. Oh, because we have 3 trade influence. In that case, we should probably buy it from Russia. There we go. Right, because South Africa hates us because we're Union of Britain. Oh, that's lost me about 6 months of construction time on the ships. Damn it. I was wondering why that hadn't gone down. In fact, are you even exporting me all the stuff that you're supposed to be exporting me? Yes. Okay, good. So and it means I've been wasting a factory for that time too. Okay, we have got construction, which is excellent. We've almost got expanded industry, so we're going to wait for that to finish. And then we're going to grab... Oh, actually, we could get 2 more civilian factories, or we could get... No, we're going to get civilian factories. We want our industry to be growing. So I think we're just going to go ahead and grab concentrated industry. Or we could do resource efficiency, which would mean our synthetic factories are more efficient as well. No, we're going to go concentrated industry. That's fine. And that's basically going to be centralized industry in terms of our focus tree. Alright. That is totally acceptable. Lancashire's doing their factory, so I think that's London's factory is complete. We are working on the next. I think Lancashire was the second. There we go. Excellent. Okay, I'm happy that fired again. Mere 20 years ago, in the last years of the Weltkrieg, the Russian Empire collapsed in turmoil, ripped apart between nationalist movements, the Whites and the Reds. After a German intervention, the Republican government defeated the Bolsheviks, but it appears that the Russian revolutionary spirit was not extinguished. After ineffective land reform by the Kerensky government and austerity measures to pay off the Brest-Litovsk reparations, as well as a crisis in the government after the president's assassination, the cities in the western part of the nation have been engulfed with the Red Tide once more. Will Bukharin Soviet Russia prevail, or will this loyalist of the White government defeat the dissenters a second time? So Soviet Union has appeared. We are going to try and support the Soviet Union if we can. We're going to send them some guns. We'll send you 20% of our monthly production to try and get you some support there. And if we can be a more interventionist scheme, which I think we can with the right focuses, with the military interventions scheme, then we'll be able to send more volunteers. We'll go from splendid isolation to not so splendid isolation. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable choice to me. I have a feeling we actually did that one first. I kind of forgot about it. Right. So we're going to do that, which means we need more troops. We have a fair number in reserve. Artillery, including artillery. So we're going to train 5 of these. I think 5's a reasonable... Oh, we can get more. You know what? We'll go with all 8. All 8's fine. Soviet Union has accepted our Lend-Lease. Our material support will support their efforts. Civil war in Russia. The crisis in Russia has reached a frightening level of intensity, and now Russian workers have risen to struggle for freedom against their capitalist oppressors once more. Should we help them, even though the Bolshevik methods are rather extreme? Yes, we will absolutely help them. That has not actually cost me much, if anything. Hopefully you'll be able to hold. Now, has Finland joined Russia? No, not yet. And you've got a cut-off already? Right, so what? How does this look? You've got 50 divisions, I would say. 5 factories, 11 civilian factories. They have 100 and... probably about 100 divisions. So they're outnumbered 2 to 1. And they have slightly more factories, but 1 less military factory. The Soviets even have a navy. How quaint. Okay. What was that? Effective total manpower modified to 99% due to Helen Crawford. Ah, you're negating my militias. And we've got mechanical computing. So, still 36. Right, we've got the bonus to construction, but we can't get that until 37, so we're not going to. I'm somewhat tempted to go and grab base strike now. Although improving my infantry would probably be a wise choice too. Especially if we're going to be more interventionist, because that means that we're going to be sending out volunteers. And those volunteers should be properly trained and equipped, to be honest. Okay, how are we doing in terms of artillery in reserve? We have 136 pieces. So let's go and have a look at our armies, and in fact we should be training. Infantry divisions can be in a separate group. So you lot are the garrison force. I'm going to put you on garrison duty, as that just seems appropriate. So we'll do that. We're going to call you Dad's Army. And you are going to be orange. And you are responsible for defending my coastline. The end of American democracy. Surprising news has arrived from the United States of America today. President Herbert Hoover, whose administration was proven to be incapable of stabilizing the divided country and calming down the CSA and AFP militants, has invited General Douglas MacArthur to take the reins of the country with a junta of military men and corporate representatives. President MacArthur is a strong proponent of an iron fist rule and opposes both syndicalism and American pacifism. Large-scale crackdowns of the enemies of America have already been reported. Oh dear. Right. So you lot are fine, but I would like you to be upgraded, all of you, in fact, to infantry division with artillery. We will gain a bunch of light tanks. Oh, you're all with tank support. You really need different icons for that, damn it. So the only one that we don't have is infantry divisions. I see. So your icon's going to be Kaboom. Your icon's going to be the one with a tank, which is that one. That's more like my elite tanks, though. With the tanks is going to be the knight. So now if we click on this, we can see that we have loads of tank guys and then one artillery, which is weird because I'm not actually building any tanks. I'm not actually that keen on the tank division units.
Listen up.
No, we're going to switch this to the artillery. Although artillery's been nerfed. But I just don't rate light tanks very highly. At this stage of the game, they're fine. It's okay. Later on, though, we might well replace them with the artillery. Okay, cool. Because at least they'll have some armor. The United States has declared war on the Combined Syndicates of America. We need to go and support the Combined Syndicates of America. So we're going to start Lend-Lease to you as well. We are going to send you 20% of our production, 20% of our production, 20% of our production, and a one-off set of 50 convoys. Because you don't have enough transports to do everything that I'm trying to send you. Ah, there we go. Expand industry in Sussex. Marvellous. Let's have a look at our next national focus. Can we get another industrial one? We can. So we can either go to conscript vessels, which gives us a whole bunch of light cruisers, or we can get some military factories in Gloucestershire. I think I kind of want the military factories. I'd also quite like the central industry research. No, we need this one. Military interventions. All around the globe, brave men and women are fighting for the syndicalist dream. We cannot let such silly things as international customs hold us back from the struggle for progress. Once we signal to the world that we are ready to bring the fight to every shore, syndicalist countries in civil war will be able to ask for our help. Damn right, that sounds exactly like what we are trying to do. The American Union State has declared war on the Combined States of America. The American Union State has declared war on the United States. So, three-way civil war. Four-way civil war. The Second American Civil War. The uneducated foreigners, two uneducated foreigners, it might seem like the crisis in the United States happened out of nowhere. But experts agree that this was a civil war years in the making. Ever since the collapse of the New York Stock Exchange in 1929, the economy of the United States has been in constant downturn. Now, the United States has devolved into a three-way civil war between the loyalists to the old government, the syndicalist Combined Syndicates of America, and the conservative and xenophobic American Union State. There have already been reports of arriving volunteers from Europe to fight for a faction of their liking. The Second American Civil War might just be the first of many battlefields between the great powers of the world in this tough time for humanity. America has devolved in civil war and we must help our brothers in the CSA. Yes, we should. Another minus 10,000 manpower, send 1,000. Yeah, absolutely. Off you go. Hopefully this will help. Siberia has declared war on the Russian Republic, so Russia is now at war on two different fronts, which is fantastic. Although Siberia, I believe, yeah, it's not very strong. It does have 7 civilian factories, though. And 15 divisions. Versus your 110 and your 60. So you're building more divisions, which is good to see there, Soviet Russia. Hopefully you can hold. Like once you've taken that pocket back, then you can spread out more. Has Finland joined? Finland's still not joined. Syndicalist uprising in Manila, as the Philippines have peacefully achieved its independence from the United States due to the chaotic U.S. Civil War. Their young Commonwealth is already facing the wonders of syndicalism. Inspired by both the Combined Syndicates uprising in America and by the Bactrian Commune in India, a group of disgruntled army officers have ordered their units to march towards Manila, where they have joined forces with bands of peasants and industrial workers. They are planning to establish a socialist republic on the Philippines archipelago. Awesome. Yes, we will support that one as well, but I think you actually require less support than the others, so we're going to not do that. But for now, that is the end of this episode, so thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying this so far, then please do hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, then do consider subscribing, and if you have any tips or advice for me, let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.